the major headlines. Fire service cautions Nigerians in safety during Eid-el-Kabir. Buhari orders completion of ongoing project in Niger Delta. And on the foreign scene, Zuma's corruption trial to resume August 10th. And on the world of sport, Leverkusen's great to undergo Everton medical today. And moving on to the news in details. Controller General of the Federal Fire Service has cautioned Muslims faithful to apply all necessary fire safety precautions while celebrating Eid-el-Kabir. Lehman gave the advice in a statement by FFS spokesperson Ugo Hohen and today in Abuja. Lehman urged citizens to be careful as the festivity involves lots of cooking activities so as to avoid careless acts that could result to fire outbreaks. According to the statement, the Controller General has placed all fire stations across the country on red alert. He directed all zonal and state commanders to ensure that all fire stations were ready to respond to any fire call within the quickest possible time. He also called on citizens to always call the emergency numbers anytime there was a fire or an emergency related incident.
One year, solid video for everyone.
And Yoruba has been arrested in Cotonou, Benin Republic, while Igboho was arrested as close to the embattled agitator confirmed his arrest to newsmen today. According to one of them, Igboho had a Benin Republic passport and was on his way to Germany before he was arrested on Monday. Operative of the Department for State Security on July 1 raided the Soka Ibadan residence where 2 of his men were killed and 13 supporters arrested. Igboho escaped the raid and was later declared wanted by the service and has since gone underground since then. And President Muhammadu Buhari has given the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs and Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, a matching order to complete ongoing projects in the Niger Delta. The directive, according to the NDDC Interim Administrator, Mike Akwa, was conveyed to the Commission by the Niger Delta Affairs Minister, Godswill Akpabio. Akwa spoke when he visited the Vice Chancellor of the University of Uyo, UNIYO, Makwado Ndayo in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Akwa, in a statement yesterday by the director and the DC's corporate affairs, Dr. Ibitoye Abosade, who said the 1,000-bed hostel at the permanent site of the UNIYO would be completed and inaugurated in the next 2 weeks. He explained that the NDDC's commitment to the completion of the hostel project was in line with the presidential directive. The NDDC boss observed that in an era of COVID-19 pandemic, it was necessary to assist universities to properly and comfortably accommodate students in order to ensure sufficient provision for social distancing in the hostels. He assured that NDDC would assist universities in the Niger Delta to ensure that their students had their studies in comfort. You are still listening to the media news on T-Solid Radio. Still to come is the foreign and sport news. Do remember that you can download our app T-Solid on Play Store or log on to www.tsolid.tv. You can as well follow us on our various social media platforms on our T-Solid Radio TV. And moving on to the foreign scene, Jacob Zuma's long-running corruption trial will resume on August 10th. A South African judge ruled today after the ex-president sought to have the case postponed because of the pandemic and the recent unrest. The trial is adjourned to August 10th to 13th, Judge Piet Coyne said, a day after Zuma, who faces 16 charges of fraud, graft, and racketeering related to the 1999 purchase of arms from 5 European arms firms when he was deputy president, appeared in court virtually from his prison. The Electoral Commission announced on Monday that Sao Tome and Principe presidential elections will go to a second round of voting. Carlos Villanova, who is the former infrastructure minister, and former Prime Minister Bossa da Costa, who emerged first and second respectively in the election, will compete against each other in the runoff planned for August 8. Mr. Nova led with 39.47% against his nearest opponent, who got nearly 21% of the vote. Delphine Neves, the candidate who came third, alleged massive electoral fraud and said he would be requesting a recount of the vote. Meanwhile, on Sunday, the National Electoral Commission said voting had proceeded normally despite boycotts, especially in the Mizochi and Lemba monopolies. Nearly 123,000 voters cast their vote to choose the next president of the tiny African island. The Democratic Republic of Congo and Congo Republic's President Felix Tshisekedi and Denis Sassou Nguesso will today attend a memorial in Kinshasa in tribute to the late Cardinal Laurent Monsengwo. The memorial will take place in Parliament in DR Congo's capital, Kinshasa, where the deceased one served as Speaker of a transitional parliament in the late 1990s. He will be buried on Wednesday next to his two predecessors at the Kinshasa Cathedral. The Cardinal died at the age of 81 on July 11th in France. He is remembered by many as a champion for dialogue and human rights, but also as a critic of the various regimes in DR Congo since independence in 1960. Mozambique's police boss, Bernardino Rafael, has issued a decree prohibiting civilians from wearing police uniform, including in art performances. He said it had been used in ways that don't give a good image of the force, but artists say the decision is dictatorial. Theater actor Anika Pagari, better known as Commander Faiskar, has been wearing police uniform in his recent shows and says the performance will not sit back. The authorities say the decree is a matter of defending sovereignty. Lawyer Osvanildo Math says using police uniform in artistic representation isn't a crime, and the police boss has no authority to issue such a decree against artists who don't work in the police force. Moving on to the ever exciting world of sports. Bayer Leverkusen's winger Damari Gray is expected to undergo a medical at Everton today. The former Birmingham winger joined Leverkusen on an 18-month contract from Leicester in January, but has scored just once in the Bundesliga since moving to Germany. The 25-year-old is set to undergo a medical at Everton's Finch Farm training ground today, ahead of a €1.5 million move to the Toffees. Everton are expected to complete a trial of signing before the squad travel to Florida for a pre-season tour, with Asmir Begovic and Andros Townsend also set to join the club. Begovic has just 1 year left on his contract as Bournemouth and is expected to arrive at Goodison Park as cover for England international Jordan Pickford. Townsend, meanwhile, underwent a medical at Everton on Monday and is set to join on a free transfer from leaving Crystal Palace at the end of the last season. And finally, on the media news, the Tigers coach Mike Brown has listed named 8 NBA stars in his final 12-man roster for the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. Japan with Miami Heat trio Precious Achiuwa, Gabi Vicent and KZ Okpala set to make their debuts at the Global Sports Showpiece. The Nigerians debuted to open the Olympics campaign against Australia at the Saitama Arena in Tokyo on July 25th. With hopes of making it to the knockout stages after their impressive outings at their recent exhibition games in Las Vegas, where they beat number 1 ranked United States and 4th ranked Argentina. Nwora will join up the team in Tokyo after his time with the Bucks, who are currently in the NBA Finals, needing 1 win against the Phoenix Suns to be crowned 2020-2021 NBA champions. The Tigers will face Australia, Germany and Italy in group of the men's Olympic basketball event. And with that, we've come to the end of the news. A recap of the major headlines. Fire service cautions Nigerians on safety during Eid-el-Kabir. And Buhari orders completion of ongoing project in Niger Delta. And on the foreign scene, I read Zuma's corruption trial to resume August 10th. And on the world of sports, Leverkusen's great to undergo Everton medical today. Ensure to go by all precautionary measures to stay safe from COVID-19, as recommended by the World Health Organization and the Nigerian Center for Disease Control. Do remember to download our app T-Solid on Play Store or log on to www.tsolid.tv. You can as well follow us on our various social media platforms on our T-Solid Radio TV. The news was compiled by Akachi Chijioke. I am Joy Akin Olamigoke. Good afternoon and many thanks for listening.